Hey everybody, Mark from Northeast Bass Fishing. How you doing? Based on my Finesse Fishing 101 video, which you guys have seemed to like a lot, so I appreciate that and appreciate the nice comments about it. I had a request to do a video just on the Hellgrammite type baits. Now, for you guys who have never seen a Hellgrammite, I've never seen a living one, but Lunker City is the first one that I ever knew of. And, you know, a Hellgrammite is like a little creature that crawls around the bottom of the lake. And as I said, I've never seen a living one, but I've seen the baits and I know they work. And I always had, you know, for a long time, these ones from Lunker City. Now, I have a few different brands here I can show you and how I like to rig them up. So, as I said, the ones I had from, oops, as I knocked the camera over, I think it's like a sour grape color. This is just the 5-inch from Lunker City, which is the one I'm just looking at what I got here. Is probably the one I have the most of. And these ones I've had for a pretty long time. And just some different colors of the Lunker City Hellgrammite, or Hellgies, whatever they call it. This one was always my favorite color here. I don't think in the box here I have any of the smaller ones. I think I have all these 5-inch size. So I'll just show you these quick before I show you what I got in the packs. This is a very versatile bait. And if there's a time of the year where fish are eating these off the bottom of the lake, it can be the way to go. A different one right there. And you can see it's just like a, you know, a worm-like body. The Lunker City ones has a split tail. It's got these little legs on them, a couple little eyeballs. So that's your typical Hellgrammite. Now this is a bigger size, a 5-inch size. I'll show you some smaller ones here in a sec. But let me stick with the, I'll show you the baits first and then I'll show you how I rig them up. Here's the 3-inch Hellgie from Lunker City. And I'll show you a few of them in the pack. This is the small size. This is the black pumpkin. This one was, what was that again? Arkansas Shiner, which I think that other one was. Black pumpkin is a cool one. Red shad, traditional color. The June bug lime belly, which might be that big one I showed you there. If you're sight fishing, fish are on beds or they're very shallow. This one right here is killer. This bubblegum color, very, very good. Chartreuse pepper. What are the 3-inch ones do I have here? And more than I thought. The 3-inch in black and blue. They just call this color big fish. So if you're looking for big fish, throw that color. Brown bug, more of a nice natural color. It's a very crawfishy looking color. Watermelon red flake. And good old green pumpkin. So let me just show you these 3-inch ones and how I'd rig them up, and I'll just go through each size and then show you how I rig them. Let me see. Let me take. I'm gonna show you the big fish color. So if you want to try throwing some Hellgies and you want to start with that 3-inch size, you can see that's a pretty tiny bait. Actually, it looks like it's got a little purple flake in there. So if you were going to look at that, it's like a watermelon, purple and orange flake on top, chartreuse belly. That's a nice color. I can see the smallies really liking this. Now this is a very small bait. So this I'm going to use a small, it's one of my smaller Neds here. That's a big one. Try one of my smaller Neds. You don't want to overpower the bait with your hook. So something with a really, like a 1/0 or a #1 hook is as big as you really want to go on these smaller baits. And, you know, keep it right through the middle. Get over that keeper. So that's just a 3-inch Hellgie on, like, I think this is like an 1/8. This is actually, this Ned might actually even be bigger than I'd use for these. These are small baits. So if you go that 3-inch route, get that smaller, you know, Ned hook that you can get. But that's just a 3-inch Hellgie. Hellgrammite. And they just call them Hellgies for Lunker City. Oops. So that's the 3-inch size. And most of these guys, I'm gonna just rig on a Ned head most of the time. Now this 3-inch one, you could definitely drop shot this too. Definitely drop shot that. You could put it on a small jig as a trailer. I would tend to go with the bigger size, but that's just me. Now, Lunker City also makes their 5-inch size, which you know, I kind of like to throw bigger baits. I tend to throw the bigger size more often. And that's the watermelon red flake right there. Black in the 5-inch. That black pumpkin, which is a cool color. I'll show you that one. That brown bug I like a lot. And there's that big fish color. I'll let you see the difference in the 5-inch to the 3-inch here. Whew. They have a good odor to them. So, just to compare, that's the 5-inch Hellgie from Lunker City, and there's a 3-inch. So if you want to go really finessey, really tiny, there's your 3-inch. You want a little bigger bait. But even the 5-inch, it's still it's a very thin bait. It's long, but you know, the main body is only probably 3 inches, because then you've got this tail, this split tail. It's going to be, you know, probably flopping around there in the water. Now this I could put on pretty much any Ned head I want. And it fits much easier because it's not such a thin body. You've got a little more plastic there to get your hook into. So I tend to stick with the bigger sizes, the 5-inch sizes. But that's a great Ned technique. You're throwing a Ned. Everybody's throwing a Ned nowadays. You want to throw them something different? Try that Hellgie. And you know, you think that 5-inch bait is going to be too big, but you're going to have that tail is going to probably be, you know, as you're going along the bottom, it's going to be flopping around there. It'll probably attract some good bites for you. So that's that 5-inch Hellgie from Lunker City on just a Ned, just that Cebu tungsten Ned. And you could probably get away. Let's see. This is that Kitech ball head jig that I like to throw. You could throw it on that too. Another good finesse setup. That's a little crooked. I'd get it more in the middle of the bait, but you guys get the idea. Any ball head jig you want to use, if you're using tungsten, that Kitech's a great one. If you're using that queen tackle, that sonar tungsten jig head, it's a little bigger. Of course, now the head of my bait's getting all ripped up, taking it on and off all the hooks all this time. And just cinch it on there. And I keep saying stay in the middle of the bait, so I'm going to try to do that for the first time here. I keep getting it to the one side. There you go, it's a little more. But you guys get the idea. Very versatile bait. And as I said, you could drop shot these if you want. I tend to just throw them on a Ned or a ball head type jig. But there's that 5-inch in that big fish color from Lunker City. So that's kind of my introduction to a Hellgrammite was from, you know, the Lunker City brand. But there's other companies that have come out that I'll show you that I kind of touched upon in the Finesse video. Fresh Baits has their version of it. I don't know. I only have 2 colors. I don't know. When I saw them at the show last year, I forgot to get more colors of these. I wanted to try some more colors because this bait works great. And this really is a Ned. It's a Ned bait. More of a Ned bait even than that Lunker City one. But as I said, if everybody's throwing a Ned and the fish are seeing Ned after Ned after Ned, this Hellgie can really be the difference for you when you're out there fishing. I've used these a lot on the river up here. They work really well. They've worked everywhere I've thrown them. It's a really nice, if you want to kind of switch things up a little in your Ned fishing, these are a great way to go. Fits right on there nice. That's just a brown Ned head there. I think that's a little bigger head. It might be a 1/4 ounce. But pop that along the bottom. You got that tail moving around. It's really a great looking Ned option that's in that Hellgrammite category. from Fresh Baits. So if you've never seen, if you guys can check my other videos, you'll see some of the videos I've done with the Fresh Baits line here. But there's their packaging. There's their website, freshbaits.com. Check them out. Nice guys. They make some great stuff. And they also have this other color. I forget what these colors are called. They don't have them. I thought they had it on the pack, but I don't see it anymore. But you can check their website out and check it out. I just have this brown one and then that crawfish-like one. This one's cool too. And sometimes they'll take a little orange, dye marker, put a little orange on the tail. Just give it a little more color. Put a little more chartreuse on there if you want to. But as I said, freshbaits.com, check them out. Got some cool Hellgrammite baits if that's what you're looking for. I also have, and I'm trying to remember the size, I think these are all 5 inches. Let me just double check. Another company that makes a nice Hellgrammite is the Tackle HD version. And this is a bigger bait too. And this color is just, they say bloodshot but watermelon red. 5-inch bait, 10 pack. And this is got a little wider body than that Lunker City one. So it's still a 5-inch bait, but you can see it's, you've got the head of the body here, which is a little thicker, but then the tail. So you can see you're going to probably get a lot of action from that tail when you're, dragging this around the bottom. Now I've shown you guys, this would probably even work pretty well on just a shaky head. We talked about shaky heads the other day because this bait has a little more body to it. So I'm going to try and see how if it'll fit on that. I might just need a smaller gap hook. I'll try it on this one. But it's probably going to work. Yeah, that'll work fine. So if you want to shaky head it, instead of just throwing a worm, you could throw that Tackle HD Hellgrammite on it. You can just imagine that bopping around the bottom, that tail going crazy, especially if you're fishing in current. It's a good option. You can put it on a Ned. Speaking of jig heads, like I've got these are these Strike King shaky head jig heads. Get some Woo Tungsten Neds. That Queen Tackle sonar head, which is neat. Let's see, that Kitech one I've showed you. You could throw this on, if you were going to throw it on the hover rig. I pulled out one of the smaller Core Tackle hover rigs without a barb on it, without a keeper, or I'm sorry, a weed guard. I'll get it right eventually, just to throw it. Now I have not tried to do this, so let's see if I can rig this on here, see how it looks. This might be a complete disaster doing it on camera, but I'll try it. But if you guys who have never used the hover rig before, this is I think this is a 3/32 with a #1 hook. The way you rig those on, you don't go through like the nose of the bait, you just kind of go down the head of it just a little bit, because I want that. And I'm just gonna, whoops. So these are a little thin, so it makes it tough, but I think it'll work. Let's see if I can get this to work. And I'll know then I can add this to my list of baits I use on a hover rig. Yeah, I think that's going to work quite well, actually. I might redo it a little bit, get it a little straighter, but that'll fit right in there. I just didn't really rig it well, but that'll definitely fit in there. So the hover rig, the small hover rigs, will definitely work with this HD Tack one. This one has enough body up here that you could use these. But I got to work on my rigging. It's a little off. Let's see. Just some other jig heads I pulled out. The slider head I showed you guys the other day. You could definitely throw this on a slider head. If you guys are slider head fishermen, now I've got the head of this a little beat up for everything I've put in there lately, but it should still be enough plastic in there to... Oops. That on. It's just like put it on the shaky head. So that's just on a slider head. That'll work great. If you guys like throwing slider heads, that'll work great with your HD Tackle. Because as I said, this one has a little bit more plastic up there to get a little more of a hook into. If you guys are throwing lead, a nice lead head you can use, like the Bass Cave Tackle. Mike makes some great jig heads. This is just a 1/8, 1/0. You don't want too big of a hook for these small baits. But if you want just a nice lead jig head, that Bass Cave is nice. Make sure I got it. See how much plastic I got left in this guy. Harpooning them and pulling the bait out. But I mean, that's about as finesse as you can go right there. Nice little 1/8 ounce, just popping it around the rocks. Nice setup. You got some of the Bass Caves too. If you want a that's the same size, just with a chartreuse head, which would be kind of cool on this with that watermelon red. But lots of different options. Lots of different options for rigging. So let me just show you the HD tackle lineup here that I have. Watermelon red. I showed you that one. Doesn't say on there, but oh, there it is. Lights out, they call this color. You guys can see that. Lights out, which is pretty much black. Let's see if there's any different flakes are in there or anything, or they just call lights out black, which this one is killer. It's a great color right there. I'm amazed at how good just plain black like that is in just clear water. It works great. The HD Magic color here, this is probably my favorite one. It's like a green pumpkin or watermelon candy. It's like a green pumpkin candy. That's my favorite right there. That's my favorite color of the HD tackle Hellgrammites. They're all nice. That 5-inch, that dark color, like purple, smoke purple flake. They got a good scent to them too. They're all slaney, but that's a nice color right there. Real nice color. And you can see, if you look at it that way, how thin that back tail is and the body. You got, you can get your whatever hook you want right in that plastic there. I would say this could maybe be a Carolina rig bait, but I don't know. It might be too thin of a body. You have to use a small hook, which I don't prefer to use too small of a hook on a Carolina rig. I'd probably stick with a lizard or whatever else. That's lights out again. That black. I'll show you that one already. Let's see. I think this is that Bloodshot, that watermelon red, like that first one. It's the same one. They call it Bloodshot. And the only one I hadn't shown yet was the green pumpkin, because I think this is that HD Magic again. But you really cannot go wrong with green pumpkin, as we've said many times. If you're going to throw one color, green pumpkin is probably the way to go. If you're going to, splurge and get two, I'd get the black one also. They're all nice though. They'll all catch fish. Now I was just kind of throwing this thought around in my head. Now I don't know if I would do it with the 5-inch one, but let's say I take, what's a good color here? One of my, oops. They all have a keeper on them. trying to find one of my Beast Coasts here, my baby dozers without this plastic keeper on it. I thought I cut them all off, but I guess I didn't. I don't really care if I match the colors too well. It doesn't really matter for demonstration. Here, I'll show it to you on this. Now, the open water sniper is a great finesse football head jig from Beast Coast. You guys know I love it. You've seen the many videos I do. You could use these. Now, the 5-inch one here might be a little big, but really probably not. Let's see how that looks on there. I've never used this as a trailer, but I just started thinking about it when I was putting this video together. But dragging this around, dragging that around on the bottom, I don't think it would be a bad option for you. Now, eventually the head of this is probably going to tear up, so you're just going to keep moving it down until you just don't have any body anymore. But you still have got, quarter of an inch there. You can still go. But I can see that being a pretty good option as a trailer for the sniper. Let me see. I'll get one of the. I gotta have one of the baby dozers without that keeper on, that plastic keeper on there. I can show you this. So I thought I just had one in my hand before. Oh man, what the heck? All right. Well, we'll just have to take it off. Oh, it came off pretty easy. Usually I have a hard time getting those off. I have to cut them off. I don't have a pair of scissors with me, I don't think. Oh, I think I do. I could have sworn, maybe I took the jig out. I could have sworn I had one of my baby dozers all ready to go, and I don't see it. I'm sure I'll find it when the video's over. But they put this little plastic, you know, just over the hook, which is good, so the hook doesn't get all banged up before you want to use it. Sometimes I just pull them and they pop off. Other times I gotta. Now, for you guys who have never used the baby dozer from Beast Coast, this will probably even fit on there better because it's a little bigger hook. Now, if I'm gonna cinch that on there, actually that's got a little bit of a plastic on there. I'm gonna get rid of. I think that's better. All right, so you get the little teeth on there, whatever you want to call it, on the. Just go right in between that. Go down the hook, and this one I'll be able to go a little further, right through the middle of the top. Cinch it down the bait, and that fits on there perfectly. So if you want to drag that baby dozer around with an HD tackle with the Lunker City, I think the HD might be a little better because there's a little bigger body there. But I would assume that 5-inch, we'll just try it. That 5-inch will work too. That's really a cool combination right there if you want to throw a Hellgrammites around on the back of a football head jig like the Beast Coast. Let's see. That's the green pumpkin one. Let's see how it works on the bigger. The little one, obviously, forget it's not going to work. Let's try it on that brown bug color. So that'll match that pretty nice. Now the head on these are a little thinner, but I think it'll still cinch on there pretty good. I don't see why it wouldn't. So here's your 5/8. I believe this is a 5/8 baby dozer from Beast Coast. It is 5-inch Hellgrammites from Lunker City, and we'll just cinch that down on there. Try and keep it as straight as we can into the bait. Cinch it down that little bait keeper, and it's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. You can just see that tail flopping around as you're dragging this along the bottom. I can see that being pretty good. I can see that being a nice option, guys. Now that's all the Hellgrammites baits that I have. I'm not sure if anybody makes any other ones. I think Berkley still makes one, but I'm not sure. Might be in a gulp version, but I don't have that. I do have another bait I'll show you, which it's not classified really as a Hellgrammites, but it's kind of similar. And if you guys have ever seen these, the Savage Gear salamanders, that Ned salamander, it's kind of like Hellgrammites-like, but I guess it's really a salamander. But I just thought I'd just take them out and show them to you quick since they're kind of similar. I do have a little bit of an issue with the Savage Gears of getting these on the hook because it is that Elastec, like a Z-Man type stuff. So I do have a little bit of an issue of getting those on, but it's one of those things where, you know, practice makes perfect. Let's see. I'll give you a Ned here. Here's a small Ned hook. And there's that salamander from, I think that's the top. When in doubt, always go the darker plastic on top. But just go through and just take your time. It's just like going through a Z-Man. You'll get it through there eventually. I know the first time I got these, I was like, wow, these are really tough to get on because it's not so much the hook part, it's when you get to that keeper part. See, that's where it's you just gotta kind of keep working it. But, you know, once that's on there, it ain't gonna go anywhere either. You can catch a ton of fish before they tear up. So I know that's not really classified or called a Helgi. They call it the salamander, but it's kind of similar. So I just figured I'd show it to you guys quick if you're looking for a different option and you like that elastic. I don't know if Z-Man, they may make a Helgi. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think of all the Z-Man stuff I have. I did have a request for a Z-Man a video, which I'll get to eventually here. But that's that Savage Gear, and that one I believe is a watermelon red. Let me just check. Yes, that's a watermelon. These are a 3-inch bait. If you guys have never seen them, 3-inch bait. That's a watermelon red. That looks just like plain old watermelon. They call it mojito. And like I said, if I pick one bait here and you guys want to see more of it, just let me know. I can do another video just on that video. I know it sometimes gets like overwhelming with all the different baits. Green pumpkin, purple copper, and the Savage Gear Ned Salamander. Oh, what do we got here? This is green pumpkin. Like just a chartreuse here, clear chartreuse. Good for bed fishing, just saying. Let's see, black and blue, all the classic colors that everybody has and everybody uses. And last but not least, mud bug. So, I mean, I know that, I guess I'm kind of cheating a little. It's not really a Helgi bait, but I was looking at them when I was picking the baits off the shelf and said, that's kind of Helgi looking. But it's definitely a Ned bait that I don't think I showed you guys when I did the finesse fishing video, so what the heck, I'll throw it in there in case you guys are interested in trying something different. But that's it. That's it. That's the Helgi baits that I have, the Lunker Cities in the 3-inch. It's a good option for your Ned fishing, maybe drop shot fishing if you want to try it. I've never tried it as a drop shot. The 5-inch size on a Ned, on a shaky head, as your trailer for your Beast Coast or whatever football head jig you like to throw. The 5-inch size is the one I use more often. The HD tackle has some great colors, great action in the water. And the Savage Gear Ned Salamander, which I know is kind of not a Hellgrammite, but I figured I'd just show it to you guys anyway. And there's that HD tackle 5-inch, which is really a cool bait. They're all really nice. This one, and they're all just a little different, which makes it nice too. They're all a little different. They're all a little different. And don't forget the fresh baits. They're Ned, Helgi, Hellgrammite, whatever they call that thing. Sorry, I forget the name of it. Check out freshbaits.com. You can order them right there. Or if you guys see them at the shows this winter, you can stock up. I'm definitely going to stock up on more of them. But that's it, guys. Like I said, any questions, let me know. But this is a bait that I pretty much use as a Ned bait. I'm just playing around with that Beast Coast. I think I might throw these in the boat and use them as a trailer. And I think that might be a cool option instead of just throwing a small crawl all the time. It might be something. It might be cool to show them something different as a trailer on that football head, the open water sniper or the baby dozer. But that's it. Any questions? Any of the jig heads I showed you? Any of the baits I showed you? Just let me know. I'll put links to all these in the description, and you guys can check them out if you're looking to get some. So keep those requests coming. It really helps. The winter months are coming, so it's going to be a lot of stuff here in the bait room until spring comes and I can get out in the water again. All right. So I'll see you guys soon on YouTube. Mark out.